Welcome back to another UNC football recruiting podcast here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you are watching us on our fast-growing YouTube channel, that is called Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and joining me is our director of football recruiting and jack of all trades, Miss Deana King. And Deana, big-time news for North Carolina today. Really, it's been a long time since we've done one of these, especially for the class of 2023. Nolan McConnell, a three-star offensive lineman who attends Colonial Forge High School in Stafford, Virginia, has committed to play football for Mack Brown, Jack Bicknell Jr., and the Tar Heels. He is 6'5", 275 pounds. Among his other offers, Florida State, Michigan State, which is a surging program, Ole Miss, Nebraska, NC State, Penn State, Virginia, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, the whole region wanted this kid. And by the way, Stafford is just south of the D.C. Beltway in Northern Virginia, probably about 35, 40 miles from the nation's capital. So, Deana, your thoughts on Nolan McConnell popping for the Tar Heels?
We had just run the offensive line target piece a couple days ago, and I noted that I thought that Carolina could land maybe 3 or 4 of those guys, and he was one of them that I thought could. It's a big piece because he's the second commitment in this class. Tad Hudson finally has some company. So this could get the ball rolling for the Tar Heels for some more commitments, because it's that time of year where kids are starting to line up some official visits and everything. And this is huge again, because, as you know, last year North Carolina raided Virginia and got 2 really good linemen in Zach Rice and Travion Green in the class of 2022 class. So they've went back up there and got another big kid on the line that I think that's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, and McConnell is from the area, not too far from where Travion Green is from. And what's interesting is these offensive linemen they're getting, they're not from the 757. So they're not just going after the Tidewater kids or even the Richmond area kids where they got Andre Green, by the way. They're hitting the whole state. And there's a lot of talent in Northern Virginia. And I consider Stafford Northern Virginia. It's not too far south from where I grew up. And that whole area, it's massive. There's so many people up there, a lot of real good high school football. So with respect to McConnell, the other part in the class is Tad Hudson, quarterback from the Charlotte area. How important is it as they start to piece this thing together that the next guy is an offensive lineman, someone who will be tasked with the responsibility of protecting Tad Hudson down the road?
I think it's huge. I mean, you got the guys in the trenches are the least heralded. So but they're the most important, I believe. You got to have good linemen, and you got to have the guys, the horses up front to protect and block and everything. And I think Nolan's going to come in and do a really good job. Like you said, we're seeing the addition of Coach Bicknell. You know, they've put out right many offensive line offers here lately, and a lot of them is in his blueprint when he was in Louisville. They're going a little bit out of that footprint that Mack talks about a lot. So, but Virginia is definitely in that blueprint. And it's a huge get for Carolina.
Yeah, Stafford's right in the heart of the blueprint that Mack outlined the day he had his introductory press conference. And when we talked to him a couple weeks later, they've maintained that. But I agree with Bicknell coming in, who was last at Louisville, and he's been around. He's been quite a few places. A little bit more of a national look. They've offered a couple of guys from Indiana here recently as well for that class. So staying on that, I think what this does, and for someone who's a recruiting junkie like you, it gives you a little bit of insight into, okay, this is what Jack Bicknell likes. Maybe something a little bit different from what Stacy Searles liked. And one of the reasons there's been a little bit of a lull in them getting commits is because they got new eyes on defense, targeting who they wanted. So they kind of had to shift gears a little bit and start over in some cases and cut ties and some of their with some of their targets. And with the offensive line, they had to do that as well. And we knew they were going to take a pretty large group on the OL. So now that May is here, we're starting to see what Jack Bicknell likes. But also, Mack told us just 2 weeks ago that he thought May things were going to start happening. So that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah. because following recruiting, you can kind of tell when some kids may not be as high up on the ladder, on Carolina's ladder, when Coach Searles was there, and we've seen new names pop up, and some of the older names, they've either moved on to other schools or not visiting and everything, and that's expected with a coaching change and everything. So Big Nell is certainly going to hit his strong points, and he's coached in the Southeastern Conference too, so he's got a lot of a wide range where he has cast his net, and so he's got one lineman down. I think they could take 2 or 3 more. I mean, you can never have enough linemen.
Well, they got a lot of older guys in the program as well, moving through here in the next couple of years. And by the way, 7 years in the NFL, I believe it was 8 years in the NFL. He was a head coach at Louisiana Tech, I believe it was, for 7 years. So there's a wide range of experience for him. And he's going to attract kids that want to play at the next level. I mean, they all think they can at some point, but he's going to bring in the kids that realize with him in place, that guy's going to know how to get them to the next level. He also wants highly physical kids. Some people may chuckle and say, well, all offensive linemen are physical because it's the one position group you're guaranteed bang heads pretty much every snap, right? But there are levels of physicality on the offensive line versus levels of so-called physicality on the offensive line. He wants guys who engage. He wants guys who initiate engagement. So I think when you watch the film of Nolan McConnell, that's what you see, is someone who is a highly physical offensive lineman.
Yeah. And like what you mentioned at the very first, it's been a while. I mean,
yes,
Tad Hudson committed
July 31st.
Yeah. And so we haven't done one of these in a while. So it was nice to push off the dust, per se, and do a podcast.
Was it the last one? Was, I think, Andre Green maybe back in
I'm
November?
not sure. It might have been. I'm not even
Andre,
sure.
Zach,
Might have been Will Hardy.
You're right. I think it was Will Hardy. Yeah.
So, yes, it's been good, and I think this is going to get the ball rolling because school is getting ready to. A lot of schools are getting ready to get out for the summer. Kids are starting to plan their official visits and camps, and so I think like we've kidded, there's no off season. It's getting ready to start blasting again.
Yeah, I had a faux pas on Facebook last week when I was actually trying to take an evening off, and I posted, "Hey, I'm in the off season now." That lasted like a day. I had one day. So plus the basketball stuff and everything else going on still. So Nolan McConnell is the second member of the class of 2023 to commit to Mack Brown, Jack Bicknell, Phil Longo, and the Tar Heels. Deana says there's a lot more coming here fairly soon. So we will, of course, be on top of it. Make sure you go to tarheelillustrated.com. And you know what? For just $8.33 a month, you can be an insider too. We have a lot of stuff that you can only access if you are a premium member. And that's how you know about guys like Nolan McConnell long before they commit. She's Deana. I'm AJ. If you're thrilled about Nolan McConnell picking the Tar Heels, go ahead and hit like on this video. Let's drive up those like numbers. I'm channeling my inner Jacob here, Deana. I'm remembering to say that. Jacob would be proud of me on that one. We appreciate you guys stopping by.
Thank you.